Mesh has helped us gain more confidence in ourselves and also more confidence when it comes to talking to other people and getting involved more with various things. They've helped us gain more confidence applying for funding for various activities and groups that we wanted to hold, and also helped us gain more confidence in filling in the application forms. They helped me find my nearest food hygiene course, and I got signed up to that and completed that to get the certificate. We are now more involved within our local community. Overall, it has made a huge difference in our lives. Not only have they helped us with things, we've become really good friends as well. And we go out for meals, to Christmas meals we've been out to just to celebrate and talk about what we're planning the following year and so on.
I learn English, and I participate in community activities and all actual possible participate. Learn writing, reading, listening, talking, communication, because very important.
Neighbourhoods That Work is an innovative programme that seeks to strengthen communities, support individuals to improve their own life circumstances and transform the way support is organised. Connecting residents and local communities together. Providing support for community groups and services to work better together. Linking these with opportunities to increase employment and decrease dependency on local services. This way, we develop stronger, more resilient, inclusive and thriving communities.
There's so many things that go on in all of our lives that are interrelated, that have an impact on how we undertake our day-to-day activities, and sometimes when those things become too many or too pressured, they can become difficult to cope with. And how do I cope with challenges in my life? How do you or anyone else cope with challenges in your life? Well, we rely on other people. So we rely on our friends, our people we're in close relationships with, our family, if we're lucky enough to have those things. And the more people we have to rely on and the more people we have to call on, the more able we are to address some of the challenges in our lives, and ultimately that makes us more resilient. So a key part of Neighbourhoods That Work is about ensuring that we all understand the value of friendships and relationships and the social networks that we live within, and if we can make them stronger and make more people participate in them, then there's increased social capital and people are better able to look after themselves and look after one another, thus reducing dependency on more statutory functions or interventions.
Our community connectors connect with residents where they are, such as in local groups, taking part in community activities, or through other services. They connect them to each other and to local groups and services. The more connected we are, the more support networks we have to draw on, and the more able we are to manage when faced with a problem. We are also better able to keep fit and well, manage our homes and finances, get and keep employment, and feel more control and happier in our lives.
And sat us down, and we were a family going through a hard time at the moment, weren't we, at the time and stuff. And we were looking at being evicted from our home. We needed help with financial stuff, didn't we?
Plus, emotional stuff as well,
Confidence.
Yeah, confidence and socialising with other people helped me get into some recreation activities with people. I've got some friends now, got the man shed, doing some woodwork.
Yeah, and got the food banks, didn't we?
Food
They helped
banks,
us out with food to get us through the hard times when I wasn't working, and the financial side was really strange. Even help with doctor's appointments, and I was struggling with my mental health and couldn't really go on my own, and couldn't talk about certain things in front of my partner, obviously, not in a bad sense, but so obviously you guys come to them appointments with me, got me involved in the right people, job centre appointments as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And things, got me up to Northgate and come with some counselling appointments with that as well, which I wouldn't have gone on my own, to be honest.
And obviously with the community events as well, obviously bringing the kids along, doing the fetes and all that as well, the festival and the charity fundraising, which is great, good for their morale.
Well, I wouldn't have gone back to work last year, so obviously that sorted that out. I wouldn't have got the help with Northgate Hospital and my doctors if it wasn't for you guys.
And anxiety as well. Obviously anxiety is quite crippling. So if you've got someone behind you, help you, push you along a little bit, it helps a lot.
There all the time. We could ring you having a bad day, we could ring you.
It's a consistent help as well. It's not just like you come in and you're there and it's done. You can always get help from
just
some
knowing
group or another.
it's like a support unit, isn't it?
Yeah.
So obviously we don't have our parents around and we don't have families around, and it's like you guys were basically like our parents for a bit, weren't they?
Over 3,500 people have made new connections in their communities. More than 1,300 people have made new friendships. Over 600 people have joined a new group or social network. We know that some people will need more one-to-one help to build their personal resilience, to access the services they need, and to act on the advice they are given. That's where our life connectors come in.
So it's about co-production, working with the service users themselves. So we will come up potentially with a plan with the service user as to what will help them overcome their particular issues. And then we will set objectives. Some of those might be done by the service users themselves, some of them might be done by the Life Connector. The idea is that we build resilience within the individual to make sure that initially we might be doing a lot for them, with them sort of sitting beside us and making sure that they know what's going on, ultimately leading to the fact that they'll be doing everything for themselves in the future.
So as opposed to the one-size-fits-all, what we're finding is there's lots of groups that actually are doing a lot, but they're doing the same as others. So rather than vying for competition, let's get a couple of the groups together, merge them, and then you create a much more thriving culture here than what you had before.
Well, it continues to engage with people at a local level within their communities. It continues to be a touch point for parents, adults to be able to be supported back into skills, training and employment, and enables them to build stronger links with their community. So it addresses some of the core things that perhaps have been a barrier to them being able to take on employment: loneliness, isolation, building stronger natural connections with others, which obviously will build stronger communities, which ultimately mean that services like mine hopefully will be less present in families' lives in the future, because they'll be able to do more for themselves.
With Neighbourhoods That Work, because you've got all the different people doing all the different roles within the project, people are linking those residents into all of those services, and it definitely does make a huge difference for people getting to A, that crisis point, or B, having to go to a GP surgery because they are lonely and they haven't got a local group to join into. So I think for the work that's being done, that's crucial if we're going to reduce time going to, places like GP surgeries, A&E, for example. All of that will be reduced.
Our community development workers facilitate and support communities to work with each other and with the statutory and private sectors to create new ways of working, more cooperation and better use of limited resources.
Yeah, I mean, for us, one of the biggest impacts that we've been able to do is we've been able to connect with other organisations and groups, charities which are in the area that are perhaps needing some support. So we've been able to connect with different homeless organisations, because obviously Lauren and that have come across people, but also Lauren's been able to signpost us to people that are actually wanting some additional catering to help their clients and everything else, so they've been able to help us with that, getting connected with those, and they've also been able to show us where there is funding available for us to be able to continue what we're doing. And they really work well alongside the rest of the social action team that we've got here. Julia Miller's been able to work with Lauren really well, and yeah, it's been important to build a relationship up so that there's an inclusion of the whole community. It's not them and us, it's actually everybody working to the same principle, which is community at the end of the day.
Because MAP are all about working with 11 to 25-year-olds, and we are constantly able to get some new funding, but the whole point of being able to work with our community and with the Neighbourhoods That Work, and what I learned from the Neighbourhoods That Work is that we should be creating new things. We should be working with other people. So me and Alicia and the team are constantly working out and speaking to other agencies, other young agencies like youth clubs, and just kind of figure out what they're up to, and how, with our new funding, how can we create something different that allows us to be not competing against another organisations, about working together. So we will always do that, and I think that's where the Neighbourhoods That Work really work, because they kind of say, actually, did you know that there's a youth club down there? We're like, no. So then we would meet up with them and make sure that we don't recreate something that's already there, and make sure that we will always signpost young people to that service as well.
We've learned that we're a mature enough organisation to accept that we have to work with our partners to help solve some of the greater issues. And sometimes it's not about actually completely solving the issue, it's about actually working with different agencies to work with that person to resolve maybe a small part of the issues, which then reduces the impact on the community but makes a massive dramatic change to their lifestyle as well. You know what I mean? It's not just about actually the causing antisocial behavioural crime in society. We need to tackle them. It's actually about making these people have better lives as well.
How does this link to improving employability and employment options in local communities? NTW brings employers and communities together to share resources and skills, and to provide flexible and inclusive opportunities for local residents.
The programme helped me gain not just confidence but people skills, and to know that other people struggle just like me and it's okay to seek help. They helped me find me a voluntary workplace at King Centre Kitchen, helping out at the front of the kitchen and taking orders, and also moving later on to preparing food at the back. This has made a huge difference to my life. It's just before this I completed a level 3 support and learning course, but didn't have the confidence to go look for a job. After 6 or so months, with my confidence and other skills, I managed to find a job at Sunbeam's Play as a play worker. I now work full time and I'm happily engaged and have my own house, and that's all thanks to Maria and Make It Happen.
I first got involved by meeting Freya at the job centre. She was doing a pop-up, and then I came into the neighbourhood centre on King Street, and I started by doing some volunteering work on reception, and then Freya took me down to the swap stop, which was helping people who haven't got anything, and I then started volunteering down there, and then from there it went to, well, doing things for the community, helping underprivileged people, and yeah, that's how it all came about. Where I was living, I was having lots of issues, and when I met Freya, then she helped me connect with other people, and they actually managed to get me moved out of where I was, and since then, myself and my daughter, we couldn't have been happier. People always say about moving into towns and that, but for myself and my daughter, that was the best move we've ever made, and we wouldn't have been able to do that if it wasn't for the help that I received from Freya and everybody else. And I had other issues in my life as well, which weren't so good. And the first place I came to was straight to the Neighbourhood Centre, and that helped me from there. So, but if there's anything else that anyone would like to know, there's lots to it, by the ways they've helped me, please get in contact with me, because I'll be quite happy to talk openly about everything.
Over 700 people report improved self-confidence after taking part in a bespoke community-based training session. Over 280 people have undertaken a volunteering activity, work taster or work placement. 135 employees are more connected to their local community.
As a broad service, I think it has been really effective. I think it was very ambitious. I think what is not always recognised is where we were back in sort of at the start of the service. I think in terms of bringing the voluntary sector together to work effectively in partnership. I think the transformation agenda around really trying to challenge the way that services are delivered and making, you know, the life connector role being a really important part of that. I think for the community development work, sometimes it doesn't get quite the attention that it deserves. I think there's a lot of work that goes on with residents to, it might be to support them to establish some sort of formal residents group or some sort of activity or craft-based group. And I don't think it's always recognised the sort of the skills development and the confidence building that's required in order to do that, and the connecting with residents around things that are really important to them.
Over £187,000 has been saved in housing benefit payments per annum as a result of Neighbourhoods That Work activity. Over £500,000 have been saved in employment-related benefits as a result of Neighbourhoods That Work activity. The estimated net economic impact of Neighbourhoods That Work is £1.2 million.
One thing that I think we're all, agreeing with now is that the wider social determinants of health problems or employability problems, they're all the same things. All of the priorities that we have as a borough council, that the health authorities have, that county council have, the police and so on, all of the priorities, they all boil down to the same thing. So trying to tackle them separately just doesn't make sense anymore. It's inefficient and it's expensive. What we need to do, and which we're getting much more closer to kind of achieving, I suppose, using Neighbourhoods That Work learning, is recognising that no one of us can do these things alone. If we're all in agreement that the things on the ground that we care about are all the same, then it only makes sense to continue to work as closely as possible. So almost letting go of some of our individual targets and focuses and saying, actually, if we share priorities together, then we will then ultimately get those shared outcomes.
Neighbourhoods That Work shows how everyone living, working, running businesses and delivering services in Great Yarmouth has a role to play in ensuring we have strong communities, dynamic and transformative services and an inclusive economy. This is best achieved when we work together with communities at the centre.